Hello and welcome to Home Shopper Show, and what a special month this month is going to be. We've just come back from touring the mother city and showing you some of the most opulent homes that Cape Town has to offer. Now, we started off in Constantia, there by the hotels, by the wine farms, touring a beautiful home that crested and overlooked all of the mountain ranges in Cape Town. From there, we shot across down to Bloberg and showed you what a seaside home looks like. We also went to Valderview, to the place where everybody likes to relax, enjoy the view, enjoy retirement. And we showed you a home that I say its architecture only quite is beaten by the decor of that home. We also went and toured the university town of Stellenbosch, which was incredible, Die Zalza estate, and then we came all the way back to the famous Camps Bay to show you what being a millionaire and living in Camps Bay in Cape Town feels and looks like. Guys, there's so much to show you. There was so much that we did and so much that we spoke about. So make sure you tune in every Monday and every Friday at 8 p.m. on Facebook, Private Property, the Home Shopper Show. See you there.
Sanbonani Dumelang, good evening and welcome to episode 300 of the Private Property Podcast. I'm your host, Uzamantungwa Kumalo. It's a Monday edition of the special episode as we celebrate the milestone of reaching 300 episodes of the only daily property talk show in South Africa that helps you on all your property journey. Before I even start, this special episode and talk a little bit about how the show is going to be, and of course, talk about the other great shows that you can look forward to across Private Property's social media platforms, I just want to start off by saying thank you at home. We managed to, not only start the show last year when we were into lockdown, but it's certainly grown from strength to strength. And now we're celebrating 300 episodes of the show. We wouldn't have done it without you at home. I come to your screens every single weekday at 7 p.m. and every single episode, there's always something that I learn, not only from the guests that we bring on, but from you at home. So thank you for opening yourselves up, opening your homes to us every single evening, and of course, sharing your own property journey in our comment section down here below. It's always great in the comment section, and I always see the various comments and the different conversations that you have during the show and off the show as well. So I want to say thank you very much. We do not take it for granted that you give us 30 minutes of your evening every single weekday, as we, of course, learn various things that relate to property. Now, talking about the different things that relate to property, you know that you can also catch other great shows across Private Property's social media pages. As it is a Monday, later on, you can look forward to the Home Shoppers Show that comes to your screens every single Monday, as well as Fridays at 8 p.m. And that's a great show where Chad takes you through incredible properties that you can find on www.privateproperty.co.za. So do make sure that you watch that. And of course, you can also catch Chad on TikTok, where he does absolutely great videos. I know Esty also does the same thing. So those are certainly great platforms where you can also connect with them. And talking of Esty Clarkson, you can catch her on the First Time Home Buyers Show coming to your screens every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. And of course, she's always in conversation with people who've not only walked that first-time home buying journey, but have gone on to grow their property portfolio from strength to strength. And every Tuesdays and Thursdays, award-winning farmer Umbali Nwoko brings you the Farming Podcast, where she tackles all things agriculture. So if you've got green fingers or certainly interested in exploring agriculture, then you certainly do want to make sure that you tune in to the show. And then, of course, there's myself, Uzamantungwa Khumalo, that comes to your screens every single weekday at 7 p.m., bringing you really great guests who help us navigate our property journey. And it doesn't matter whether you're a property investor, you're looking to buy, to sell, to build, or you're currently renting, the show certainly does cater to you at home. Well, we did say that for episode 300, we're going to be bringing you a special edition, the Superfan Invasion. And I'm quite excited about our Superfan Invasion and the game that we're going to be playing. Because I think one of the great things about the show is, of course, the top fan gang members that you often hear me referring to on Facebook, who are always fastest fingers on the pulse and are always commenting and really get things going and sharing, of course, their own property journey. Well, we've brought them on this evening as we do a Superfan Invasion. We've got 5 of them. I'll be introducing them shortly. And we've formed a team. Every Superfan, they've formed a team, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their team as well and their team name. And I think one of the big things with the Superfan Invasion, we're certainly looking forward to doing more of these, because we know that so many of you at home not only love watching the show, but certainly have formed bonds in the comments section. Really, the comment section is where it's at. I mean, the show is fantastic, but if you watch the show on Facebook, you know that the comment section is absolutely where it's at. So we're bringing you the special edition where we're bringing the fans on, and certainly going to have quite a lot of fun in this particular competition. And without further ado, I want to introduce the special game that we're going to be playing with our super fans this evening. And as I said, we've got 5 teams that are going to be joining us this evening, and all the teams have a team leader. They also have other team members, and the team leaders are going to tell us who the team members are. And we also have 10 questions. And the trick really for all the team leaders is that the fastest finger is to answer is the one that's going to be able to be given the opportunity to answer. So I'm watching them on Zoom here, and they have to raise their hand and raise their hand on screen when we ask those 10 questions. And the fastest person to raise their hand, they get an opportunity to answer. And should they answer, they get a point. And we have a total giveaway of 15,000 rands for our participating team. So there's always money on the block here on the Private Property Podcast. We love giving away money, whether it is data or even other kinds of prizes. We love giveaways. And the winning team with the most points will take home 5,500 rands. The first runner-up will walk away with the whopping 4,000 rands. The second runner-up, 3,000 rands. And the third runner-up, 2,500 rands. So everyone's a winner, but of course you want the biggest amount, especially because we're all into property. So we know how much of a difference that extra bit can actually go. But that is not all. You at home also stand a chance of walking away with a share of 5,000 rands. And all you have to do in order to walk away with that share of 5,000 rands at home is comment down here below. So the first 10 comments to tag 3 friends and use the hashtag 300 episodes and hashtag YSYR will each win 500 rands. So down here in the comment section, make sure that you tag 3 friends and you also use the hashtag 300 episodes, hashtag YSYR, and you will win 500 rands. And make sure that your friends are actually tagged, because sometimes you start tagging, then it doesn't actually tag. It's just the words that's written, it's just Zama, and it doesn't actually tag your friend. So make sure that your friend is actually tagged down here below. And the winners are going to be announced on a post that will be posted on our Facebook feed tomorrow morning. So do watch out for that tomorrow morning. And I think the really big thing is we want to make sure that we're also making the property circle bigger. You hear me say this every single evening, and that's why we want you to tag your 3 friends. Let them know about this podcast. You already tune in every single evening, so we really do want to get more of you at home interested. So it's that easy for you at home to also stand a chance of walking away with 500 rands just for watching. Tag your friends, tag those 3 friends, use the hashtag 300 episodes and hashtag YSYR, and you stand a chance of walking away with that. The first 10 people to do that are all going to win 500 rands in cash. Now, I want to, the show is about to begin, just a little bit. The show is nearly getting there. And this is really the exciting part, right? I was saying to the super fans of that the questions are very easy. I actually think the team made the questions too easy. And you at home are probably also going to agree with me that these questions are very super easy questions, and we go on with the, with the 10 questions. One of the big things I want to find out from you down here at home, I think, share with us some of your property milestones, especially as we celebrate 300 episodes. We are celebrating a big milestone, which is, of course, 300 episodes. There aren't that many podcasts that are able to get to 300. We are the only daily property podcast in South Africa, and that's quite a huge milestone for us. So share with us your property milestones since you've been watching the show. We want to hear from you, and also very excited to hear from you at home. Now, I'm ready to slowly introduce our team this evening, and I think I'm going to start. With the first team leader. Many of you already know her, and the first team leader that I want to introduce is Umartha. And Martha Shingange. She's the team leader for Legacy Builders. Martha, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us in this special episode of the Private Property Podcast. How are you this evening?
I'm awesome, Zama. What an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having us and for hosting us as the super fans. It's absolutely awesome to be here. Thank you.
Mother, it's always such a pleasure. I mean, you're always in the comment section every single evening, and even answering other people's questions when they come in, really get the conversation going. Tell us a bit about Legacy Builders. Who's in the team? Why even that name? What legacy are you building? I can already preemptively, think what that legacy is, but share with our viewers at home why the name and who is in your team.
Of course, this is a non-brainer. With property, I think all of us here are trying to build a legacy, and I think that's what the Private Property Podcast have actually taught us. All in our different spaces where we are trying to get into property, we're doing it for different reasons. But now we get into this show where we are actually now realizing that we have to be intentional about this and actually doing it for the future. So that's why we are calling ourselves the Legacy Builders. So on my team, I have 3 absolutely gorgeous ladies and 1 gentleman. That's the thorn amongst us, the girls. So I've got 2 Michelles. The first Michelle is Michelle Volmerans. I also have Michelle Grisel. I have Upalisa. And the thorn amongst the roses is Uhlumelo Koso, also another regular. So yeah, that's my team.
And we're quite excited, of course, for Team Legacy Builders. So give it up for Team Legacy Builders at home. I know that they're also watching. And that's, of course, Michelle, Balisa, Shumelo, and the other Michelle. So there are 2 Michelles in the team. Very excited to have them also join us. I'm now going to let's go to Howard. Howard Mukatani, he is the team leader for Team XL. Howard, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on the special 300th episode of the Private Property Podcast. How are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
I'm very good, Howard. Howard, tell us a little bit about Team XL.
So yeah, Team XL, the name, it really come about the say go big or go home. You can go extra, but why not go bigger and go extra large? So that's essentially where the name came about.
So I would raise you and be like, why not go extra large, right?
Well, that's essentially the plan. We're going to see you during the show that we're going to go extra and extra.
And Howard, tell us who is in your team this evening.
So I've got team members from all across the world, really. Bongs Savakwena, Bongs Ayon from UK. Carol Mbele, she's from Gauteng, as well as Sepan Charlie. Those are my 3 other team members, and we lead in Team Excel.
Well, all the best to Team Extra Large. I do hope that actually I'm wishing everybody well, especially because, like I said, the questions are fairly easy. I'm sure that you're all going to enjoy them quite a bit. And now moving on to another member of the Top Fan gang members, and of course, a super fan during the special episode of the Private Property Podcast with myself, Uzamandungwa Khumalo. It's Glad Chirinda, who is the team leader for Team Akani. Glad, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us a bit about Team Akani.
Good evening, Zama. Akani, it's a Shangani name. It means building. So from my team members, we are all ladies. We have Mikateko Baloi from Pretoria. We've got Fahana Sadiki from Devon and Anelda Everton from PE. So we are all ladies from my team.
And I'm sure ladies are also going to do a great job in assisting you along the way. And I'm very excited I'm loving the predominant female teams, I must say, because oftentimes we as women have our own set of challenges when it comes to getting our foot in the property ladder and certainly climbing that property ladder. So it's always so great to see when women are watching the show, engaging on the show, and looking at different ways to start and grow their property portfolio. So that is Team Akani with their team leader Uglad on there. And the last team this evening is none other than Usemi Mutlatse, who is Team Takeover. Sammy, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I see it's Team Takeovers. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a bit about your team and why the name. What are you taking over?
Okay, Zama. Yeah. Good evening, team leaders and team members who are on social media. Please, guys, assist us. Hashtag episode 300. We are taking over. They know themselves, my team members, even though this ones that I'm against today, they used to be my team members. They know what I'm capable of doing. They just been calling me 2 o'clock in the morning to say, how can I come to your team? But it's okay. I told them, no, this time let's just be against each other. It's gonna be a wonderful show. Okay, the name takeovers. When this started, when the property show, I remember I used to, when I was staying this other side of Pretoria, I used to go to the back rooms, listen to the show. Then I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn what is happening with property. And we are now on episode 300. I've took over some certain department of properties, and I'm hoping that I'll grow very fast because I think I just realized in property, you can't do these things alone. There's money that is needed. Guys, we need to work together so that we can build the legacies for our families.
And I love that. And your team members, Sammy?
Yes, my team members is Bongani. She's the Mabunda. We are together here in Pretoria. The other one is Colleen. Hey, I'm not sure which province is Colleen from. I want to check. Then we have Umatha or Martina. She's from Sushanguve. She's also from Pretoria. Then those are my 3 ladies. I'm relying on them. They know our game plan because we've been guys throughout. We never sleep. We wanted the best team. We wanted to take over whatever that is happening tonight. Hopefully, the hashtag, guys, take me. Let's see let's bring more people into the show.
I love that, Sammy. I absolutely love the team spirit that Team Takeover certainly has. And that is the 4 teams that you can look forward to this evening on the special episode as we celebrate 300 episodes of the Private Property Podcast. Well, we're about to start with our game, which is going to be quite exciting. Just a snapshot of how the game is going to go. So shortly, I'm going to start the game where we're going to ask 10 questions, and the team leaders have to raise their hand. And I've briefed them even before we came on air that when they raise their hand, they actually have to wait for me to finish the question. So we're only going to look at hands that are raised after I finish reading the question, just because we don't want somebody preemptively reading, then I still need to finish the question. No, you must wait, I must finish. If you raise your hand before I finish, then we don't count it. Obviously, they're going to be raising their hand electronically here, and I will ask the question as I'm asking the question. I mean, I think even you at home, if you want to get involved, you certainly can. I think one of the great things you're going to realize is questions are fairly easy, especially if you've been watching the show. If you've been watching the show, this is going to be one of those, you know, when you get given a spot test in school and the teacher says, if you've been following with the lesson, you're going to get 10 out of 10. This is one of those. So you're definitely going to get 10 out of 10 if you have been following with the questions. I mean, certainly with the show. And to get us started this evening, I want to find out from you before we start the show, what property milestones do you have or that you'd like to share with us since you've been watching us? We've been on air for over a year, 300 episodes in. Of course, use that hashtag 300 episodes and YSYR. We want to hear from you at home. Well, to get us started with our first question. So the team leaders, are you guys ready? Are you ready for the competition? Are you sure are you ready? Let's just start there. Is everybody calm? Is everybody ready for the very easy questions?
Oh yeah.
And certainly the fun,
oh,
I think.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
then, are your teams ready? I want to see also down here below from the different team members. Are you guys ready to support your team leader? You're going to have a few seconds, of course, as I ask the question. If you want to consult your team members, you don't have to consult. Maybe you'll just know the question at the top of your head, which of course we are counting on. But you can also consult your team members. Sammy was already saying to the team, listen, reach out to me as the question is being asked. So I absolutely love the team spirit that Team Takeover has on this one. Well, to get us started with the first question. Now, the first question of our superfan invasion, the first time that we are doing this on the Private Property Podcast, the first of many, we do hope. I want to see from firstly the team leaders, are you guys okay? Are you fine? Are you ready?
Ready.
I think let's see if everybody is ready. Okay, everybody's hyped. So we are ready, right?
Yeah.
So drum roll. We're going to go with the first question. So the first question is, how many times can you watch the Private Property Podcast in 1 week? And we've got a raised hand. The first raised hand was Usemi Mahlatse. Semi, what is the answer there?
It's 5 times a week.
And that is the correct answer. And I did say to everybody, they're relatively easy, right? So you've gotten a sense of how easy this is, right? And I think you've also gotten a sense that we've done the first question of how we're going to go. So is everybody now ready for the next question? Question 2 at home. I think Sammy and Glad, you can take your hands down on the screen. There we go. And question number 2 is, no, Sammy, there we go. And question number 2 is, name 3 platforms where you can watch the Private Property Podcast. And the first person to raise their hand was Howard from Team XL. No, Howard was the fastest finger first. And I repeat the question for our viewers at home. You can also see it on the screen. Name 3 platforms where you can watch the Private Property Podcast. Howard, let's see if you can name them correctly.
Zama, you can catch the podcast on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
And that is the correct answer. So that would be the 3 platforms where you can watch the show is C. So you can watch the show on Facebook, you can watch the show on Instagram, and you can watch the show on YouTube. You are, of course, able to also follow us on your TikTok and other, and as well as on Twitter, but we do not have the show on those 2 platforms. And then the third question, this one, I love this question. Is everybody ready, Sammy? Hands down there. There we go. And the third question is, what is Zamantungwa's last name? The fastest finger was, again, it was Howard. What is Zamantungwa's last name?
No.
It's right on the screen.
No.
Why you shake your
Are you sure?
And then he waited until the end. He waited until the end. Yes, I actually watched because I was like, he waited until the end.
Yeah,
Howard,
yeah.
what's the answer there?
Zamantungwa Khumalo.
That's an easy one, right? I mean, you hear it so many
Right.
times throughout the show. On
yeah.
every poster that you see. That one was a giveaway. We should have made it the first question because that's just a dead giveaway. And that is, of course, the correct answer. My surname is Ukhumalo.
But with this raising of hand.
What is that, Sammy?
I'm
it's
saying
not
this raising of
working.
hand.
not
When it doesn't suit him.
We need an order.
But Sammy, you were the first one though. So if Howard had gotten everything, then I'd be like, but you were the first one. So you know that it works and it works well. We need to see.
But don't forget that we need to raise our hands once the question is.
Yeah, and I looked at when I finished the last word. So if a hand were to go up while I'm reading, that won't count. And I know all 4 of you are going to keep to the rules, and we're definitely mindful of that as well. Team Legacy Builders, as well as Team Akani, we need to get you on to the scoreboard. So do make sure that you get your fingers ready. Wait until I finish asking that question, until, of course, you raise your hand. And the 4th question is, the Private Property Podcast hosted a competition called Pick Your Home, true or false? And this one, it was Akani, Uklad, Team Akani was the first finger up, the first hand up. And the answer there, the Private Property Podcast hosted a competition called Pick Your Home, true or false?
The answer is false.
And that is indeed the correct answer. We didn't have Pick Your Home. We've certainly hosted a number of different competitions. The most recent one, of course, being the Sherlock Holmes competition that many of you, even the Top Fan Gang members, participated in. And we had quite a lot of fun with that one. And I'm sure we're going to be bringing you many more competitions, especially going forward and across the other shows as well. So that is correct. The answer is false with the 4th question there. So I think let's do a temperature check. Is everyone still okay? Is everyone still feeling enthusiastic?
I'm not okay.
Martha's the only one who isn't on the scoreboard. Martha, what's happening? Team Legacy Builders, what's happening? Why are you not on the scoreboard?
No, my
what is happening here?
My buzzer is not working.
We're building a legacy, and so you need to be on the ball. You're slacking, and I'm sure your team members are also like, what's happening?
They're giving me such a hard time right now.
As they should, right? So legacy
okay.
Builders, please get in on Martha, because Lenda yenzayo I lunganga, guys. Yeah.
My buzzer is not working, I'm convinced.
She's treating you the way Martha, you're treating Legacy Builders, so you need to do better. In case the Chiefs, we had their hopes in them, and they crashed us.
Oh, that's so.
We're still in pain. Listen, all I can say when it comes to Kaizer Chiefs, I didn't support them this season, and I think last season as well I supported Sundowns, and I grew up supporting Kaizer Chiefs. I've literally got Takumalo's like shirts, even the Bafana shirt, the Visa Cup shirt, all of it. Then I was like, yes, and guys, we went into lockdown, we're top of the log, and then Jiggy, we didn't win. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to support Sundowns this next season. So Tanda and Jess J. I'm like, no. This is an abusive
I hope they are listening
relationship.
to you. They mustn't call you one day. You don't want to see you emceeing their awards one day.
And I will MC, and I will also tell them, guys, I was a diehard. I will once they shape, I'll go back. I'll go back home once they shape. But so far, Sundowns is treating me well, so it's okay. So Martha, you don't be like Chiefs. People have our hope. We had our hopes, the whole nation. I even saw Pirates fans being like, you know what? Just for tonight, support because let the cup come home. But it didn't. So I certainly want to find out from you as we celebrate 300 episodes of the Private Property Podcast. And of course, firstly, we always going to keep saying this. Thank you so much to you at home for always tuning in, always engaging us, making the property circle bigger. And to celebrate this special 300th episode, we've invited our super fans for a super fan invasion. And there are 4 teams, also comprising of other team members, and they are making up the super fans, and we're going through 10 questions, and the winners of the 10 questions get to walk away with amazing cash prizes. We're also, of course, giving away cash prizes to you at home as you are watching. So do continue commenting down here below, sharing the live as well. I think one of the great things with the live is when your friends and family on Facebook see that this person Zamantunga is watching this, or we'll say we're getting this property thing. They always also see her, resharing and glad resharing, being like, if you want to know more about this, make sure that you're watching this podcast. It certainly helps you. Do keep doing that at home. We love seeing it, and certainly love seeing more people and new people in our comments section. Well, we're nearly halfway into our competition this evening, and the 5th question, is everybody still okay? Everybody still alert?
We are here.
Okay, everybody is here. Hey, Team Takeovers is here. Team Takeovers is here. They're just like, Yazzie. So the 5th question on our special episode this evening is, on which day do we get a visit from ABSA? And the fastest finger this time around was Sammy of Team Takeovers. And let's hear it, Sammy. And look at Hussein. I already they are here now.
Me and
on
ABSA,
which day?
You remember me and ABSA? If you saw.
No.
Separate.
So, Sammy, on which day do we usually have ABSA on the show?
On Wednesdays.
That's an easy one, right? And that is in fact the correct answer. We usually have somebody from the ABSA Home Loans team every second Wednesday on the Private Property Podcast. So if you want to hear firsthand from ABSA, you want to make sure that you're tuned in on Wednesdays. That is when we have them on. I see Team Takeover is taking over, right? They're here. Even the energy that Usemi is bringing. Mother, glad. Please. We need you. Fastest fingers first, please.
How?
Question 6. It's working. They are typing. They are raising their hands, and they're certainly going on. So question 6, and question 6 is, what is the most important document as far as property ownership is concerned? Sammy, your hand was up first. Let's hear your answer.
The document that is the most important. It's your title deed.
Martha. Martha.
It's your title.
Martha, you're doing Martha.
That's it.
No, guys.
I'm having
no.
deja vu of the Kaizer Chiefs and Al Ahly match this weekend.
No,
Deja, because when that second goal went in, now that's when I stopped watching. After the second goal, I was like, no.
Can
no,
I
no.
leave now? Can I leave?
No.
Don't, Martha. Don't,
No,
you can't leave
Martha, you're
now.
not leaving.
You remember
We're not
Mus-
leaving, Martha. We're building a legacy. We're building a legacy, and this is a legacy. We're building a legacy. And then we'll use a property analogy, Martha. I need to sometimes in property, you know that some people are able to, for example, let's say buy land and then they build fast. Like they buy the land, the construction starts within 3 months. Building is done. Next thing, people are moving in. Abanye, you buy the land. You know, and then okay, now we must build. Maybe it takes you 2, maybe 3 years, but eventually you build, you finish, and then you have people moving in. So will get there. Whether you're getting there in 3 months, in 3 years, we will build a legacy. It doesn't matter how slow we go. The aim is not always to go fast. So we're not leaving. We don't give up. We don't give up. We must get you on the scoreboard. I think don't be like Kaizer Chiefs that unfortunately didn't get on the scoreboard. You know, I think because at some point I was like, oh guys, at least one, just only one. So that's only what we want to see from that's only one, right? That's only what we want to see from legacy builders. Of course, we want to hear from you at home. I want to hear from you at home, certain milestones, property milestones that you have reached as you've been watching the Private Property Podcast. I sometimes have people, tweeting me or sending me DMs saying, we really enjoyed, the episode on negotiating for better interest rates. I got quoted Prime Plus 2. Then I went back. I didn't even know that I could negotiate for a better interest rate. I was able to end up getting Prime Plus, 0.25, which is a huge saving. So we love hearing those big milestones that you're able to reach. It doesn't matter. It can be something as big as, negotiating your interest rates, or even during this time, being able to negotiate lower rate. You see the ad, it says 7,000 rands, you view it, you love it, but you're like, as in the market, I want to actually pay 6.5. And you negotiate that. That's a huge milestone because not everybody is able to negotiate those those kinds of things. So do share with us down here below some of those milestones that you have been able to reach by watching the show. Everybody, glad that you're still fine. You're very quiet. Are you still okay? Are you still with us?
I'm okay.
Okay. We're not like Uma. Semi is happy. Semi is here.
Semi just overtook me.
I tell you,
we have a problem.
it's a tie.
So how are you doing? How are you doing, Team Excel? Everything's fine?
Semi overtook me. We've got a problem. I need to take over.
Then you must overtake him as well. It's not over until it's over.
Guys.
It's not over until it's over.
No, for sure.
So let's move on to our next question. I love this question. Our next question is, do you need an interior designer or conveyancer when you're in the process of buying a house? And we've got Martha from Legacy Builders.
Yay, finally, jeez, guys.
It's all just get on the scope. It's not over until it's over. So, Martha, which one is it?
And the answer, of course, is a conveyancer.
And she says, of course, because she's a regular viewer of the Private Property Podcast, watching every single weekday at 7 p.m. And that is indeed the correct answer. You need a conveyancer when you are.
My game plan is working.
What's working, Sammy?
My game plan, and now I think that I want you to get this next question.
Are you doing reverse psychology tonight? Sam is being a tactical player and he's like, I'm not going to win it like this. I must invite them.
No. We are warm now. Bring it on.
Everybody's warm.
But on one. The other one is
bring it on.
Every team is on this.
As long as Howard is not getting this one, I'm good.
So this is his division tactic. We like, this is Art of War. This is classical Art of War stuff from Sammy on Team Takeovers. This is their takeover strategy, right?
Yes.
So maybe this is exactly what they want.
I don't need to answer
if
questions
they'll be able to take in.
Ooh, listen to that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. So Howard, this is the opportunity to step up.
The next one is mine.
I think you must crash his
The
game
next
plan
one
as
is
much
mine.
as you can.
Yeah.
On mine.
And as we get ready for that next question, and the next question is, or maybe before we go to the next question, because Semi is so confident, guys. Semi's confident. Let me go to a few of the comments that we've received at home. I actually want to see a few comments from our viewers at home when they sharing, of course, what they've been learning and some of the milestones, because we need to calm things down with the Semi. Semi is here, so we certainly want to hear from viewers at home. What have been your milestones as you watch the Private Property Podcast with myself, Uzamantungwa Khumalo, as we celebrate 300 episodes? And of course, we couldn't have done this without you at home, and we absolutely love hearing from you at home. We love the questions that you're always asking, really engaging questions that, of course, help us along on our property journeys. And it really has been questions from tenants wanting to better understand, terms of their lease agreements, to landlords wanting to understand terms of the lease agreement they're about to share with their tenants, and of course also getting a good sense when you are buying, when it's during the buying process. I mean, one of the things that we sometimes tend to get a lot in the comment section is if you went and you viewed your place, especially a house, and it's got really great fixtures, the braai area looks a particular way, and you put in an offer, and then come the date of registration, and it's now been registered to you, and you're moving in, or the handover is happening, you then sometimes find the owner has taken fixtures, like all the nice doors that you saw, the braai stand where you are like, yeah, here I'm going to host people, they have taken it, and people wanting to know, can they do that? Was it something that was supposed to be put in the offer to purchase? And really having a better understanding of that at home. We certainly want to hear from you, because those are some of the issues that we absolutely love covering. I think to the teams, I know that they're still fine. We've got Krish Naidu saying, I'm still renting, hope to buy a home one day. We absolutely love that, Krish. I think one of the great things is that move from renting to buying can be both exciting and daunting. And one of the great things that the show has been able to do is help some people make that transition, help you in negotiating from the point of dealing with the estate agent, and even help you in how to view, because I think many of us don't even know what must we look out for when we go view a property, because we've never viewed a property. Property viewing shouldn't be a 5-minute long thing. You must look out for certain things. You must also be asking your estate agent questions. You must find out, why is the owner selling? If there's a tenant in place, and this one I absolutely love. When there's a tenant in place, ask the tenant questions about the complex, about the unit. Are there any loud noises in the unit? Because there's sometimes noises, when you open taps, and it's just one of those things that never gets fixed. Tenants are usually very open and forthcoming about these kinds of issues. So do make sure that if there's one there, ask them those few questions so that you're able to get a good sense of what is what. And of course, one of the things is my colleague Amu, who works behind the scenes, she's just saying that everyone is rooting for Usemi. So a lot of the people in the comment section are rooting for Usemi. I think this is a challenge to everybody at home, not just at home, but it's a challenge to the team leaders. The team leaders, this is a challenge to you, because people are rooting for Usem. It's like, like last season when people were rooting for Chiefs, because we're at the top. And we're at the top for a long time. We're not in a situation, hi guys, just give it to us. I mean, since we locked down, it's COVID, we've been, just give it to us. And then zajigizinto, right? Zajigizinto. So izinto ziyakwazi ukujika, and I think we certainly need to make sure that if nifuna ukuthi izinto zijike, you must stop Semi in his tracks, as Sundowns certainly did stop Kaizer Chiefs in their tracks last year. Maybe Howard will be, maybe Team Excel will be the Sundowns of the league. This evening. And of course, to you at home, we absolutely love hearing from you. So do keep sharing with us your own property milestones here on the show. Now, getting back to the team, the super fan invasion. game that we're playing this evening. Of course, we've got 4 teams consisting of some of our top fan gang members. We've got Legacy Builders, we've got Team Takeovers, we've got Team XL, and we've got Team Agani. And they are fighting it off to win 15,000 rands in cash for their team. And we're going through 10 very easy questions. And the fastest finger on the dial gets to answer the question. If they get it right, they get a point for their team. And to your home, I know that by now we would have probably gotten the first 10 comments. You can look forward to the announcement of the winner of that 500 Rand cash prizes. Those are the 10 winners who are going to get 500 Rand in cash. We're going to be announcing it tomorrow morning. So do watch out for that on our Facebook pages. Well, to get back to our game, is everybody ready? Is everybody ready for the last push? So this is now the DStv Premier League. The country's opened up a little bit. Kaizer Chiefs is on the top of the league, and Sundowns has made inroads. They've made inroads, and it's now
we're coming.
Are they going to take it? Are they not going to take
milestone.
it? What's happening? And then they eventually took it, right? So let's go to our next question. And our next question is, and it's a true or false question. Our next question is, you don't need a good credit score to apply for a home loan. And we actually had Howard from Team XL being the first hand up. And Howard, what is the answer to you don't need a good credit score to apply for a home loan, true or false?
It's false. You need to be super clean.
And that is, of course, the correct answer. I know that everybody who watches the Private Property Podcast knows how important your credit score is. We always say, make sure that you keep it clean, and in the event where work on getting back on the bandwagon, because a very good credit score helps you a lot when you buy a property. When you have a bad credit score, you probably will not get a home loan. When it's borderline, you very likely get quoted higher interest rates, and you won't be able to negotiate with the different financial institutions for them to lower that rate. So you want to make sure it's as clean as possible, so that when they give you that quote of prime +1, you're like, hey, I want prime, or make it a prime minus. And we know how much, that percentage, or even a 0.25% reduction, it makes a massive difference. And if you want to play around with just how much a difference it makes, you can go to www.privateproperty.co.za, go to the calculator section and play around with the calculator, because that gives you a good sense that if you take out a 1 million Rand loan and you get it at prime versus a 1 million Rand, home loan, rather not a loan, a home loan, and you get it at prime minus 0.25, how much you get to save in interest over the full loan term. So those are some of the tips and tricks that you're able to learn when you watch the Private Property Podcast. And of course, if you haven't watched other episodes, you want to make sure you go back and catch up on all those great episodes. And as we are slowly rounding up, we'll see if other teams are going to take over. I want to share a comment here that we got on Facebook. From Tato Hart, saying, I'm in the process of buying my second property, and one thing I've realized is that there's always something to learn from the process. Thanks to Private Property for coming through for the girl. Tato, absolutely love that comment, because I think it's one of the things that even the top fan gang members will attest to. Even myself, I've been doing property for quite a number of years. I've bought multiple properties over the past couple of years, had tenants, sold, the full spectrum, rented, going from renting to buying, making all kinds of mistakes and really learning along the way. And I think one of the things that you keep realizing is that there's always so much to learn. And one of the things I think that we also appreciate is it shouldn't be overwhelming. The learning process shouldn't be overwhelming. You'll know as much as you learn, and you put your best foot forward. And sometimes I think you'll make a few mistakes. I've made them, and I always like sharing the story of the first acquisition that I made. When I bought property for the first time, they're laughing because they've heard this story. I think
embarrassers.
You were never ready.
They're laughing.
we know.
I have heard this story many times. And that is, when I bought my property, I was 26 and I decided to buy myself 2 properties for my 27th birthday. And at the time, all the research that I had done, I knew that there's a conveyancer that's going to be part of the property buying process. I thought it's one per property, even when you buy a bonded property, because it would be one if it's not bonded, So I wasn't aware that when your property is financed, there are actually 2 attorneys for that property transaction. So there's the transferring attorney, and then there's the bond registration attorney. So I only knew of the transferring attorney. I didn't know that I must pay an attorney to register the bond. And so I get the invoice from the first attorney. I knew that was coming, and I anticipated it. I get the second invoice, a different attorney. I also knew that was coming. So I'm like, yeah, Nisha, grand how jiggy. Third invoice comes in. I'm like, what's happening here? 4th invoice comes in. I'm like, Aibo, like, has somebody cloned my identity? What is happening? And I actually let those, emails, I missed those emails for a little because there's some fraudulent activity happening. You know what? I genuinely thought it was a scam because these things happen, right? We get scammed all the time. I thought I'd sent my ID to the estate agent, to the bank, maybe somewhere along the line, somebody shared my data and now I'm being scammed. And maybe by after a few days or even up to a week, I call one of the attorneys, the 3rd invoice. And I'm like, I know I'm getting this. I'm a bit confused. Like, okay, who are you? And then that's when, and I'm so grateful that she did this, because then she explained that, okay, so when you buy a property and it's a bonded property, there's the transferring attorney, and this is what they do. I was like, okay, yeah, I was aware of that. And then she's like, there's also the bond registration attorney, and the bond registration attorney is appointed by the bank, and this is what they do. And that is how I learned that there are, 2 attorneys per a bonded property. And of course, as you can imagine, I had not budgeted for paying 4 different invoices. I'd only budgeted for 2 invoices. So that was a mistake that ended up costing me, quite a bit. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to be able to make that 3rd and 4th payment. Needless to say, I ended up, eating ichuna for most of the day. Sorry, for the next couple of months, that's what I was essentially eating. So those are some of the insights that you're able to learn even when you're a tenant, so that when you buy, you don't make those mistakes. You know what to budget for. You know what to be ready for. Well, we're slowly rounding up our episode this evening as we go to our next question. And our next question is, everybody ready? Everybody ready? Everybody ready?
Yes.
And our next question is, name a place you can obtain a title deed. And the fastest finger this time around was Team Takeover. Team Takeover, name a place you can obtain a title deed? And the
office.
Can you just repeat that? You broke on my side.
Okay, deeds office.
And that is the correct answer. C is the correct answer. That is in the deeds office indeed. And I'm sure certainly everybody who is here is aware of it. No, Howard, we don't do that because we learn, right? We're all learning. With some people, they may not know. Especially if you've never dealt with the title deed office, if you don't know about the deeds office, you won't know. So I think that's one of the realities when you've never actually bought a property or been anything property related, that you actually don't know of the deeds office until you need to know about it.
And just amused by the choice of questions, the choice of answers that were given there.
Yeah. And our next question is, what is another word for mortgage? And the fastest finger there was Team Akani with Glad. Glad, what is another word for mortgage?
Another word for mortgage is bond.
And that is, in fact, the correct answer. Answer A is the correct answer. And that actually brings us to the end of the questions. The team is going to round up the questions for me down here below. They'll let me know what's what. But as we wrap up, let's start with Mata. Mata, how are you feeling?
No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Please bring an ambulance. I'm not okay. I think I've just collapsed.
We need an ambulance service to make sure they take care of Umata. Glad, how are you doing?
I'm okay, Zama, I'm okay.
Are you okay? And then let's see, Howard, how are you doing?
Super. We're getting there.
Look at the fire.
We're heading for a tie.
And let's see, Sammy, how are you doing?
I took over.
And that's why I wanted to end up with Sammy. So the tally of our of the superfan invasion is Team Legacy Builders has 1 point. Then we've got Team Akani with 2 points and Team XL with 3 points. And then, of course, Team Takeovers with 4 points. And that's a big congratulations to the leader, Sam Mahlatsi, and of course, Team Takeover.
Sammy,
And they have indeed taken over, right? So congratulations.
Okay, Sammy.
Okay.
And
Sammy. Well done.
Madam,
Thank you, my people
You're
on Twitter.
still part of the team.
Oh, goodness.
Okay,
Please.
Thank you, my people on Facebook.
Mata, I think don't be.
Today.
Let's give Sammy his 10 seconds of fame. Team Takeover. Your final words. So this is the post-match interview. So Sammy Mahlatsi of Team Takeovers. What was the game strategy going into the Superfan Invasion game? Tell us what the game strategy is.
The team strategy, we've been strategizing with my people. We've been not sleeping, calling each other at night, going for team meetings every hour. My people were on me to say, Sammy, go read your property guide. You know, I want a property guide. People can get it on the website of private property. That book is so informative. There are so many information, and most of the questions that they were asked, they are inside the book. There was one question that Zama just spoke about somebody that is buying a second property. They must get the book so that they can be able to learn more. You know, in property days, you never stop learning. You never stop learning. My team were encouraging each other. We were so proud of ourselves now. Colleen, Bongani, Martina, we did it. We did it. This is for us. And I know my team members, they're also my team members, my team leaders. You did a lot. And I remember at some stage, I didn't want to get into the sheep. I was like, my face just going me into the lion's den. Because I know.
Well, I'm very glad that Martha did just that. Congratulations to Team Takeover. And the book that Sammy is making mention of is this one, and it is the property guide. So if you want to get a hold of it, you are able to see it on our website. And of course, we'll also share the link down here below. And as we wrap up, I want to say thank you, firstly to the Top Fan Gang members here at home, here, of course, on the live, who were able to join us this evening. We really do appreciate you joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you in the comment section, engaging us as you always do. And of course, thank you at home. I think one of the big things is that this show wouldn't have been able to grow from strength to strength had it not been for you at home, from watching, engaging us, sending your questions and the comments, sharing the love with your friends and family as you share the various episodes that we have. So also, I think a very big thank you to you at home. And of course, everybody, certainly everybody in the that's joined us this evening is able to walk away a winner, because in as much as the overall winners walk away with that 15,000 rands that they're able to share, or rather the accumulated money that the various teams are able to share is 15,000 rands. Every team is able to also walk away with the cash prize that they'll be able to share amongst themselves. But before I close up and let everybody go, I think we're going to hear one last word from every team member. And the question that I want all of you to answer, and Glad, I'm going to start with you. It's been 300 episodes of the Private Property Podcast. What has been a highlight for you as we celebrate, obviously, this milestone? What has been the highlight, or certainly share a property milestone that you have with us? Very briefly, 30 seconds each as we wrap up.
Okay, my milestone on private property, it was a show done by Matthew Sidu, the fleece subsidy. That stood out for me. It was very, very informative. I didn't know about fleece before I joined property. So he touched a very important topic that reached out to so many who were listening, and it was very informative. Thanks to you, Zama and Tim.
Absolutely love that. And let's hear from Martha, quick one, milestone highlight.
So Zama, I think for me, most of the episodes, they really came together. But I am so excited to just share with everybody that through the show, I met Howard, who has helped me so much, with a lot of advice and all of that. And through this network that has been provided, I was able to register my first property company and bought a property. And I've been moving from strength to strength ever since. So really this legacy, it's on the build and it's on the up. So thank you so much. Thank you so very much, family. Truly, truly appreciate it.
And this is why, Martha, we don't fall off the wagon when we don't have a score on the scorecard, because we're building this legacy bit by bit. Howard, on your end, highlights of the past 300 episodes or any milestone that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, no, Zama, thank you. Really, like Martha just said, it's really a combination of every episode. And as Semi was saying, you never enough information with the property. You always have to go on learning, you always have to go on engaging. And the more you engage with every second person, you're always going to tap a bit of something from somebody. Every time you engage in any property engagements, there's always something new you're going to learn that you thought you knew, and yet you didn't know all of it. So really, all the episodes, that they do matter.
And they absolutely do. And let's hear the last word. Very briefly, Sammy, any highlight you'd like to share with us? The winners, of course, of the first ever Superfan Invasion. Let's hear from you.
There's a lot, multi-lets, but I want people to read. Reading is very important. I think 3 months back, you had a visitor, a presenter. You invited Witness Mdaga. It's one of the people that people need to follow on social media also. He has so much information. He's sharing information for free. He has a book. People can just follow him, check the book. I don't want to advertise him a lot, but I know there's a lot that they will learn from him. And also Zama. They need to follow you. There's so much information. We forget about you. Zama here. People, they don't know this 300 episode. We are talking about Zama. Zama 100 episode to be possible. Without Zama, they won't be having so many property gurus out there. Property themselves.
Oh man, I love that. And because Howard, I know, watches the show a lot, I always try to shy away from putting myself on the spotlight, especially during Zama,
the show. Sorry. Now we are having the biggest invasion of the evening. So you've been on the show for about 300 episodes. Each one of them, you've been stepping up every evening. You have prepared, you've engaged the various guests that we've had on the show to make sure that you bring the most relevant information to help us on our property journeys. Yours has been the best kept secret. Like you were just saying that you have been shying away from all the questions. But guess what? For one night only, private property is allowing us to invade you. Yes, the spotlight is on you. There we go. So it's on you right now. It's on you.
Man.
Asking the questions for so many episodes, for 300 episodes. Now we get to ask you the questions. And I believe you've got a surprise. There is a surprise. You've got an envelope with you. Do you want to show it to me? Can I see it?
I actually kept it close by. So it is here.
And awesome.
That. And so am I supposed to open it?
Not yet.
Not
you
yet.
need to unlock it. You need to unlock it.
Okay.
And the rules, there's only one rule. This is a no holds barred. We ask the questions and you answer all 4 of them.
There are 4 questions.
Oh yes.
Wow.
And these questions
Talk
are
about invaded on your own show. Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So the tables have turned now. So I've got 4 questions from the super fans represented by the 4 teams this evening. So I'm going to ask you the 4 questions, and you've got to answer all 4 of them before you unwrap your surprise. Are you ready?
Okay.
Ready or not? We're doing this.
Yeah. Very unexpected. Okay, I'm ready.
That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. So should we give you a second to collect yourself?
To collect myself, to just busa.
Yes,
I'm gonna ask Biola to just only show Martha on the screen for just a quick second as I gather myself. So Biola, just Martha on the screen for a quick second. Okay, then one moment there.
Awesome. As we get ready to invade on our host. Right, we're putting her on the spotlight for 300 episodes. She's been asking others questions, but this evening we get to ask her questions. So this is an exclusive. About time indeed, about time.
Okay, I'm back, I'm ready.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, there we go. So I'm back, I'm ready. And
awesome.
The invasion, I'm accepting it. So that's the first question.
Awesome. So we're going to start with the team that took everything. I'm so sorry about that. So team takeover, that is takeovers, that is Semi's team. They want to know, how would you advise a young person who has been working for 2 years? They are earning about 16,000 rands after deductions, and they want to start their property investment portfolio.
That's a good question.
Right?
Must I answer after you ask it, or we're going down? So okay,
no. Let's take it question, then answer.
Okay, so 16K net, that's actually a really good price point to be at. It's in probably the top 10%, because we also know our salary data in South Africa. I think the first thing, if you want to go into property investment, is to decide what kind of strategy you want to go into. So you assess your finances, you assess where you're currently living. Are you willing to, if you're staying at home, are you looking to move out of home to rent, or are you looking to move out of home and buy a property that you're first going to live in before you buy an investment property? I always encourage people, if you can, stay at home for as long as you possibly can, like literally, if home allows, because you're able to save quite a lot and really make inroads when it comes to building a property portfolio. And then decide what strategy. So are you looking at property investment, or do you want capital appreciation? Maybe a little bit of both. Obviously, watch the Private Property Podcast. Go back to old episodes that can help you understand what do we mean when we say cash flow strategy, or when we talk about capital appreciation. Go on privateproperty.co.za. You can follow myself on social media at Zamandunga_K as you look through what to think about before you start your journey. And then you're ready to start your search. And once you're clear on the kind of areas you want and you do your research, you'll start viewing. So there are many different ways to get there, but the really crucial thing for young professionals who are looking to get in is understand the numbers. And the numbers isn't just the bond amount. Like I was sharing earlier, it's also the cost of getting that property, and the full cost, and also the cost of owning that property. So the monthly, cost from your utility, water and electricity, your levies if you're in a sectional title. So it's really about first just understanding the numbers as much as possible before you even view properties and fall in love with the property.
Absolutely. So run your numbers, as you always say. And all this information we've gathered in all the 300 episodes, not forgetting the property show that went on for about 2 days. And now for the first prize winners, and that's Team Extra Large. They didn't go extra, unfortunately. But anyway, their question is, what has been your biggest investment property regret or challenge?
Oh, that's such a good question. These are tough questions.
Questions,
I know. So I think regret. There was a time I bought. There was a time actually the biggest regret was over leveraging too soon in my property journey. And it's both a mistake and a regret. And it's something that earlier on I didn't understand, right? So in as much as you want to get, home loans from the bank, you want it at 100% loan to value, and you want to maximize every 100% loan to value that the bank gives you, you also end up exposing yourself quite a lot if you do that. So I think being heavily geared, not over leveraged, being heavily geared, there are disadvantages to it, and it does actually have a negative effect on your portfolio. So at times where you do put down the deposit so that you're not overly geared. So I didn't understand gearing early on, and I think you only really pick it up and understand it once you're now looking at scaling your portfolio, that actually there are disadvantages to it. There are people who believe in doing that a lot, but I'm not one of them, and I think it's sort of come back to bite me. So I learned the hard way that being overly geared is it's not the best thing that you can do.
Oh wow, that's a lesson for me. So maybe that's something that we need to discuss in the next show.
Absolutely. So the team will take the notes. We'll look at, how to best gear your property and not being overly geared. I know I learned that once I was way, way, way in. So we'll definitely be having that topic.
No, that's a lesson. That's a lesson for me as well. And now, njengoba sihamba ngelayini, we're almost at the end. So we're now going over to Team Akani. And their question is, what strategies do you use to determine the price when you put down an offer on a property that is up for sale?
I share this this is a good question. And it's something that I share on the show as well. There are different resources that you're able to use. And some of them are free. Some of them I'm fortunate to have access to them. So some of them you actually have to pay for them to first get a sense of the price point in the area, the price point in that complex, and also where the market, is. So when we were buying property, for example, 18 months ago versus now, it's very different, in terms of what we're asking and what ultimately ends up being the price point that gets sold. So after gathering all of that, and when I also view the property, talking to the agent, trying to get a sense, why is this property, being sold, speaking to the tenants who are living there, when I can see that actually this is a distressed sale, they want this property to go very quickly. So I'm able to have a bit more room to even negotiate further down than what I probably initially wanted to negotiate. That helps me quite a lot. So going in there and knowing that the price I saw advertised, that's just the starting point for them. But I've never paid, for example, a price that's been advertised in any property that I've bought. And so it's really important to understand the activity in that area for the type of property that you're looking to buy, because that equips you to make a cheeky offer sometimes if you want, because you know that actually this has been sitting on the market for a long time and they haven't been selling for a very long time. So I'll offer, let's say, 20% less than what they're asking. And by then, if it's been sitting on the market for like 10, 11 months, I know that they're most likely at this point to now take it more, but they just want this one.
Yes.
So I use a combination of those before I then make my offer.
No, great strategies indeed. I think research, and save that back. And of course, we save the best for last. The best, that is us. Team Legacy Builders wants to know. Okay, Zama's still laughing at that. Okay, Zama, we didn't win, but it's okay.
No, but you are the best. We have saved the best for last. What is the question?
You are the best for last. So, Team Legacy Builders, we would like to know, what has been the greatest property lesson that you've learned from a mistake? Except that one about conveyancers.
The greatest property lesson I've made from a mistake is you don't have to buy many quickly, right? I think there's a fixation, and this is when I was younger, there's a fixation of having X number of properties, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, I've got 5 or whatever, or this year I bought 5. Property really is a marathon. And I think for me, in the early days, I treated it like a sprint. And so just you acquire, and sometimes you make these different mistakes, that the ones that I've shared and I show on the show. And it's because you are treating it like a sprint, like it's just a buy, and have many, not also understanding that you also need to get a sense of how to manage tenants, right? What systems can you put in place when you manage a tenant? There's a difference between when your one property, for example, only has one tenant versus when another property has, for example, 3 tenants. And so I think I did a lot of the heavy buying very quickly, or there was a stage when I was just like sprint. And that was a big mistake. I think it's probably better, and I'm realizing this now, is it's sometimes better to have different stages. I mean, I know property investors who say they buy a property every month, for example. So every month they add one property to their portfolio, and that's more of a grouping setup, where others are like quarterly, we want to add a property. And I think rather look at it from a strategy perspective as opposed to at every opportunity in jail you're buying. So you're not even strategically buying in terms of, we're now looking for a property that will get the portfolio from this level to this level. It's just about, there's a property, it's available, like qualify, let me buy. So I think the big thing is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And in a marathon, there are times when you're jogging fast, there are times when you're taking it slow. You walk and it's okay. So it's not that you're not moving, there's still movement. And I continue to learn that, because there are also times when I just want to buy because you can see great properties, but I'm like, this is not part of the strategy. We're not doing that. This is a marathon. We're not sprinting.
Yes. So probably we should be saying that you need to run your own race. Run your race.
Own race,
own pace. Build your structures. Yeah. No. That's
even when you assess your own race, be clear on the fact that it's still a marathon. So don't go and chase it. It's still a marathon, but just run it at your own pace. Yeah.
Yes. What's important is that you keep moving.
Yes.
Awesome.
We're gonna
get just like the legacy builders. Like
exactly.
us. One of these days will be the team takeovers. Kazama, thank you so very much for opening up. We know that it's not so easy for you to do. You hardly ever do that. So we really appreciate this opportunity that you could just allow us into your space to tap into your insights, your journey. And it's been awesome. So now you've actually earned the right to open your surprise. And that is from the entire private property community. So that's the private property as the company and us as the fans, to say thank you so very much for your commitment.
Thank you, Zama.
We appreciate you. We appreciate the time that you make. We appreciate that it's a commitment towards building property moguls. So one show at a time. Siyabonga kakhulu. You are such a vibe, and we stand. Thank you so very much.
I love that.
Awesome. Thank you, Zama.
Thank you so much, Martha. So now I can open.
Yeah, open. We want to see.
Go ahead and open.
I love gifts. I think anybody who follows me will. Oh my God.
Enjoy it.
Oh, I love this. So to the viewers at home, so it is one of the things I always say every time we have a competition where we give away money is I wish I could have a little bit of that. Even if it's like fam, like I wish I could have that 500 rands. And now I get to have my own. I will be able to shop. It's a 5,000 rand voucher from the team. Thank you very much. I love this. So I'm gonna go shopping. Thank you. I will share what I buy with this. Will probably be something for one of the properties. We'll see.
Of course.
But thank you so much, and thank you to the team. And thank you to the team. So before I wrap up, I think the first thank you is to the team that's behind the scenes. I mean, you get to see me every single weekday at 7 p.m. and we get to spend time together. But there really is a team that puts this together and makes it a reality. So it's not just me, from Upiola to Amu, who's also messaging me now, to Guy, to Kizito, to Unomfundo and her team. So there are quite a number of people behind the scenes who make this happen every single day. And I think you've certainly seen us, not just this show, but all the other shows, grow from strength to strength. And as Private Property, we continue to share the different milestones that we've also reached. Even when we got to 50,000 subscribers on YouTube recently, we love sharing all those big milestones because we know that we couldn't have done it without you. So a big thank you first to the team behind the scenes that makes this possible, and always willing to rejig and replay everything that we do along the way. And of course, also Tracy from Private Property, who has been a huge supporter and encourager, not just of the property, but also of the brand and growing it from strength to strength. And a very, very big thank you, of course, to you at home. This would not have been possible had it not been because of your continued loyalty and support and continually engaging with us all the time. And then we certainly as a team don't take it for granted that we've got such a great community, and it really is a community that gets to interact with us and share with us different milestones, different mistakes, and different lessons that you're, picking up along the way. And I think one of the great things that you're able to also see with the community is that different people also meet each other. The fact that, Martha met Howard and they're already doing work behind the scenes. We love hearing stories like that. And do please continue, sharing with us the different milestones that you're able to reach by watching the show and the different shows that we have. And I think it's such a great thing for us who are behind the scenes, putting the show together, to see that the work that we're doing has such a huge impact to you at home. So thank you very much, Siyabonga Re a leboga, for the continued support. We're going to keep growing the podcast and certainly the other shows from strength to strength as we, of course, make the property circle bigger. I'm going to wrap up. This has been an incredible 300th episode. And I think we don't take it for granted that we've gotten to 300 episodes. Thank you very much, Martha, Sammy, Howard, and Glad. It has been such a pleasure to have our very, very first superfan invasion. I know the first of many, because after this, I know there'll be other fans who'll be like, yes, Zinami, I want to be part of the invasion. So we're definitely going to
I want to be in the show now. I see it's nice.
You see, so if you want to be a super fan, if you want to be part of a super fan invasion, you need to keep engaging down here, and we're definitely going to reach out when we do our next super fan invasion, because we certainly love having you on the show. I mean, this is actually the first time we have our fans on the show like this. Previously, we've asked you, to send us videos and we play them on, but this is the very first time we have our viewers at home on the show. So thank you very much. I'm going to wrap up. I know that we've gone over our normal allocated time. This has been quite a huge pleasure. And I think I'm looking forward to the next milestone that we're going to reach as the show. And as usual, I hope at home that you're staying home and staying safe.
Staying safe.
Thank you.